Hello and welcome to Monday's edition of Loose Mandem. You lot are probably thinking, why am I in the hot seat and not Kamaar? Well, it is because me and Kamaar thought we alternate on these days and when we present. So, as Kamaar has presented Mondays and I presented Fridays in the past 3 or 4 weeks, in the last 1 or 2 weeks of every month, Kamaar and I will do Fridays and I will do Mondays. So, however, enough about that, and I think it's about time we get stuck in. So, coming up in the next 40 minutes, we will be discussing the latest news stories that has hit the headlines, such as the university scandal and the reaction to the murder of Daunte Wright. As well as all of that, towards the end of the show, we will be playing another game of Loose Mandem does guess the celebrity. So, Loose Mandem does guess the celebrity. So, make sure you get or have all your snacks at the ready, because that is today's Loose Mandem. As you can see, we have our other new panelist, Terell, who has joined us for today's show, and you will be seeing him more and other new panelists to feature on the upcoming episodes. Firstly, we did not get a chance to say this in our previous episodes, but we want to send the royal family our deepest condolences of the passing of His HRH, the Duke of Edinburgh, who sadly passed away at the age of 99 on the 9th of April. He was the longest serving consort in the British history and served in the Navy for 14 years. We at Loose Mandem want to thank him for his service and his contribution to society in terms of me and Kamaar and Terell receiving our bronze in the Duke of Edinburgh Award. May he rest in peace. And now, thousands of testimonies have surfaced from girls and young women exposing universities and schools for an epidemic of sexual violence and abuse. This comes about as 86 universities have been named regarding the number of sexual assaults or abuse that have occurred at the institutions. The founder of Everyone's Invited has exposed the scale of sexual violence in the UK and has told news outlets as well as media outlets that it is about rape culture that has the effect of normalizing sexual violence, the sexism, the misogyny, and the victim blaming. It exists as the fabric of our society and is very much prevalent at universities across the UK. So the question is, do you think the statement is true? And what can we do as men to help create a safer environment for women and for everyone? So I'm going to go to Terell on this one. And what do you think about the question so far?
You know, obviously for that many universities to have a problem like that, it's just disgusting. It's not acceptable. At the end of the day, there is a problem, and you know, girls should be going to university feeling comfortable and not having to worry about getting sexually harassed. And it shouldn't be happening. And it, like I said before, I don't know if it comes down to teaching your boys better, because again, I don't agree that's a teaching thing. I just think that rapists are just bad people. They know what they're doing is wrong and they just need to be punished. Like, it's not like they haven't been taught. You know what I mean? They know what is wrong, which is why it's such a tricky thing to deal with as a whole, because you can't really get rid of bad people. You can only protect good people. You know what I mean? But yeah, the amount of universities that's been stated that this issue is going on, it shouldn't be happening really.
Yeah, it is a bit odd, you know what I mean? Because obviously you've got to have accountability for it, and you know it's not fair, because ultimately it's just the mindset of, I don't know, you don't really understand the mindset, and you have to really think about, you know, do they know if it's right or wrong? You know what I mean?
I think they do. I don't see how you could not understand when a girl says no. I don't know why it goes in your brain to make you continue. I think that's okay. You know what I mean? I don't think it's acceptable to say, oh, they just don't know what they're doing, or they're not educated. Like, they know what they're doing. Like, they're just wrong. You know what I mean?
That's fair. Kyle, what do you think of this?
I basically agree with Terell. I think, the idea of teach men not to do this, it don't work, because the men who are doing it know, like Terell said, it's wrong. You see, when it comes to like domestic violence and stuff, you see on like The View, where they always end, there's no reason to hit one. And it's like, I know. Men know this. Domestic abusers are watching that show going, you're right, I shouldn't be hitting my wife right now, so I'm going to stop. They'll still do it. So it's not, the issue won't be solved by spreading awareness, because everybody knows that there's problems. Everybody. Apart from kids. And even kids are exposed to it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So that's not the issue. The issue isn't spreading awareness or teaching men. The issue is, how do we protect good people, like Terell said, and how do we find those specific individuals and notice those specific individuals? Not teach men not to do it, because we know not to do it. There's just people who don't, who decide, I know it's bad, but I decided to anyway. It's that situation. It's just, teaching's not going to do anything.
It really isn't. I mean, you can only go so far at this point. How about you, Kamaar? What do you think of this?
Well, these two have, made very good points about it. But I think men overall just need to, who are abusing women, just need to hold back and then just think of themselves. Are you doing what? Do you think in your head, are you doing the right thing? Is the woman safe? Does she feel comfortable having sex with you? Does she feel, scared about it? Those thoughts need to be in those abusers' heads at the moment of time, but clearly they haven't anyway. But this is from The Guardian. In 2020, about 50,000 cases of abuse or harassment take place every year, and I'm just thinking, universities has got so much money than other schools, but I think schools in itself do better in terms of informing their students about these topics like these. But these universities should have, much money, much members of staff to, counselling and stuff like that. But you've got 50,000 cases now.
But they don't really do much about it, do they?
Do that.
I think it's an ego thing.
Possibly.
I think it's an ego thing. I think you find a lot of abusers often see themselves as much better. So I think it's an ego thing. And that's why it seems to be much more prevalent in private schools with people who are richer, because they have that ego. Sure, it happens in public schools. It happens just day-to-day life, but I do think it's part of an ego thing. I think that's the main issue.
I feel like unis as well, they don't take accountability because they don't want a bad rep. You know what I mean? They don't want people thinking that their university, this stuff happens a lot. You know what I mean? No uni wants that. Like, as much as uni's education, it's still a business. You know what I'm saying? And they don't want that image to be put out there. So I feel like that's probably why they don't take it as seriously, which is wrong. They should be taking it very seriously and bringing it up. And even people in the uni, like, they need to be calling out the people that are doing it. If you can see you're making someone feel uncomfortable and you're very close to them, you just tell them stop. If the other person is obviously not saying to them stop and they seem uncomfortable and scared, you should just be like, yeah man, just give up, you know what I mean, give it a rest. And I feel like people don't do that enough. People like to mind their business nowadays, you know what I mean? They don't step in, they're very for themselves, you know what I mean? Like, they'll see it happen, like, it's got nothing to do with me, and they'll just go. And I feel like, like I said, it's good people versus bad people. So if you're a good person, you should step in and try and help someone.
But you know what? You make a good point, but you said that, but sometimes you don't know if someone's seen that situation. They don't know how to react to that situation, and that's a form of education as well. Going back to education, going back to like obviously, abuse. It's hard to educate abusers, but like starting, like from primary schools, like I just said, warn them about it. If you see something like that, they should learn about the approach. So like, even if you had a stroke, you wouldn't know the approach and the steps of what to do. That should happen same as abusers. They should have an approach.
Also, on the question on people saying it's part of rape culture, disagree with that. You often find that a lot with our generation, especially on TikTok. I can't stand TikTok because it's just I can't stand it because it's everybody agrees with the video they've seen.
Yeah.
It's this is the popular video, so that's the opinion of everybody in our generation, and it annoys me. And their main thing is we live in a rape culture. We do not live in a rape culture. Rape culture suggests that we live in a culture that is fine with rape, doesn't see it as a massive issue, and when it happens, it's not treated seriously, which isn't true. You get the strongest sentences if you are sentenced after being convicted of rape. If you are outed as someone who's sexually harassed someone, you are almost like isolated from society. Nobody will speak to you apart from maybe your family, and even then, families are torn apart by just one member being an abuser. We don't live in a rape culture, and I think saying that doesn't help the problem. It just goes, it's this bigger thing. Okay, how do we fix that bigger thing? I don't know. It just exists.
I mean, even with even if you haven't been raped someone and you've been accused of rape,
yeah,
I mean, you still get
life's ruined.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You lose your job. That's it.
Also,
and if we lived in a rape culture, that wouldn't happen. People would be like, it happens. That's a rape culture.
And then I feel like now it's become more apparent that some people are lying about being raped, which is really affecting the real victims.
Yeah.
Because now, if it's like there's so many little issues in this big problem. Like, if you lied about it, the next person that says something now, people are gonna be like, oh no, you don't have no proof, I don't believe you. And it shouldn't be like that, because nobody should lie about that, and then nobody should be like, nah, I don't believe that happened to you. You know what I mean? But because of there's bad people in each scenario, it kind of just messes up everything, and then the whole thing just gets messed up, and it's kind of hard to deal with as a whole. You get me? Like, if I was to hear one of my friends was accused of sexual assault, I'd probably distance myself from him. But at the same time, I know people that have been accused of that haven't done that.
Right.
And it's kind of hard. Like, that could ruin his life, but at the same time, he could have done something wrong, and you know what I mean. It kind of just messes up everything, and it's hard to deal with as a whole. You feel me?
I mean, even Kamaar, what would you say in that situation?
Yeah, I agree with what it said, but you know what? We just need. Some people think it's all men. It's not all men. It's just a certain minority of men who do, abuse women and harass them, and it should.
I mean,
hopefully, we should, have from that server ever, I think, and from multiple cases of women's across the UK being experienced like that, the government should, or some charities or universities should come together and make a plan, and
I mean, what would you say to someone who would say to you, well, why are you always using the excuse not all men?
Can I answer that?
Yeah,
go for it.
Because the difference is that when there's been a female murderer or a female rapist or a female trafficker or anything, that's an individual. It's always been, this person did this. Every time an abuser or a murderer has been male, it's always been attributed to the entire gender. What's going on here? What's going on with the gender? You never hear that with women. It's not like...
Sure. Yeah.
So men feel almost like, whoa, it's not all men. Yeah. And then they let the conversation go. It's almost a response.
Shouldn't be a gendered issue.
It's always, whenever it's men, it's always made a gendered issue.
Yeah.
When it's women, it's not. So the reason why when women never go, it's not all women, is because they don't have to. Yeah. They've never had to feel like their entire gender is based on one person.
That's interesting.
While men, every time something happens, it's always what's wrong with the gender.
Like, don't get me wrong, I understand, like, at night time girls being wary of any guy that's walking.
100%.
Like, if I'm walking down a girl at night time, I'll stop and let her get some distance. I understand that bit. But like, putting the label rapist and men together just doesn't make sense. It's like putting the label criminal and black people together, or terrorists and Muslims together. That's not the issue, because anyone can do it. And just because, like, for example, there's some statistics that suggest that black people in America, commit more violent crimes. You don't then say crime is a black people's issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't say that. And you can understand that even if a black person's not doing crime and they don't agree with crime, you can see how they would be angry that someone's making the issue due to their skin colour or their gender or whatever, instead of just targeting the person that's done the crime and targeting those type of people, you feel me?
And most of the solutions people have come up with aren't solutions based on finding the individuals that do this, or tracking the individuals or seeing the signs of these individuals that abuse women.
Mm-hmm.
It's all been about, okay, what do we do about the gender then? How do we fix the gender?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's why men are saying, not all men.
It's
Because it's just a response. Because every time,
Mm.
it's always attributed to the gender.
Mm.
So women don't understand that, because when a woman does something, it's never attributed to the entire gender.
and it makes things harder to do because instead of focusing on bad people, you're just focusing on the gender. It's like
Yeah.
bro, focus on the bad people.
Yeah, find the individual.
And it's not
Yeah.
like we're against you because we're men. We agree with everything you're saying, but you're trying to group me into there
Yeah.
when I'm with you and I don't agree with that.
It's like that. It's like that ideology, and it's like, well, if you haven't, you won't. Like, if you haven't abused a woman, you won't be saying not all men are. You won't be saying this. And it's like, no, I'm making it clear I haven't. Let's move on with the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean that is. I think it's definitely a thing where online it's quite, vocal. Given that everybody's on internet nowadays. Not well. Like I said, not everyone. I was like not saying not all men, but everybody's online, and everybody can share their opinions freely. But there is, again, like cancel culture. We have covered that before.
Yeah.
And if a guy was to say something about how it's terrible, but not all men do this, he would probably get a lot of flack for it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. In specific situations, if a girl has told you that she's gone through that, don't then first instinct say,
Hey man,
"It's
no.
not."
Exactly. That is stupid.
That's just insensitive because she's literally telling you that she's gone through. Not saying that you can put that in for someone's actual experience, but in terms of just targeting the whole problem, don't put it as a men problem, because then it's very difficult to handle. Because like I said, not every guy does that. You know what I mean? It's a minority of guys, bad people, and the thing is as well, it's like when you say what can we do, what can men do to stop it? It's like you can't stop bad people from being bad people.
What can men do to help? What can good men do?
Yeah, like we can help you
Yeah.
to avoid situations,
Yeah.
try to protect you,
We
but
can call people out,
We
but
can
there's
call people
nothing
out,
we
but
can
we
do
can't
to stop.
yeah, we can't change bad people from existing.
Yeah.
They're gonna do
They
it.
know what they're
regardless.
doing.
The only thing I could do potentially is if he was in that situation, I could stop it. I'd stop it, but that's still not gonna stop him from doing it again or doing it to the next person. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to.
So what can people do to help prevent this then? Well, not entirely stop it, but because let's be real, it's been going on for centuries. But what can people do to try and help prevent it then? That's for everybody.
I would say just make it clear that we are willing to listen, and individually, so I think it's a more individual problem. Individually, I think, take responsibility, and if you see it, report it, try and stop it, do whatever you can. Because we're not going to be able to teach men, we're not going to be able to teach bad men not to do it, but we can teach good men how to stop it.
I agree.
Yeah.
How about Kamaar?
Calum, yeah. Good points there. And as well as, like, if a woman's walking in front of you, just walk across the road. But if you can't, it's kind of hard. I'll overtake the girl if you can't cross the road. Overtake her to make her feel safe. But like I said, we need a step by step guide on how good people like us know what to do. Obviously we do, but sometimes things can happen. Everyone get a rise. Oh no, not doing that. We need like a calmful, peaceful approach for us good men and other good men in the world, and in the UK, to if they see someone getting abused or harassed, what we need to do. Because it is clear, but it's not clear enough. It's not detailed enough what to do. Yeah, so that's what I think.
Sure.
Kamaar's right. I feel like we do need. Well, it just should be I think the topic should be brought more to hand on how we can kind of just intervene in situations that are happening. Like the whole topic, I personally can't sit here and say how we're going to get rid of rapists. It's like how we're going to get rid of murderers. Like, you know what I mean? I can't think of a solution.
Yeah.
But you can step in and intervene and protect these girls. Like, if you see, a friend that's doing it, call them out. You know what I mean? And if he's not stopping, report him to the police. So don't just leave it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one problem that I feel like people do. They leave it, they don't get involved. You know what I mean? Get involved and let let the people that are being abused, let them know that you're here to help them.
Yeah.
Then the problem it can get better. Call them out. Don't just let it slide. If you let it slide, they're gonna think they can get away with it. You know what I'm saying? And as a whole thing, I'm 17. I can't sit here and say I'm not a Batman vigilante in my free time that can go around stopping all these crimes.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're all right. At the end of the day, it's something that as people we need to try and get towards and try and fix. We can't always just assign it to one specific group because then it just causes more drama. So yeah, again, I agree with every single one of you. And I mean,
Exactly, I agree. But I hate to cut it short, but we have to move on. And yes, so well, that's it. We think for that discussion, but please stay tuned because after the break we will be discussing the Daunte Wright situation, and we'll be playing a game of Loose Mandem does Guess the Celebrity. See you in a bit. Okay, welcome back. Still to come on today's show, all our panelists will be playing another game of Loose Mandem does Guess the Celebrity, so hopefully one of them will get the right answers. Kyle, as I have my bet ready to see who wins, but we will see in the next 16 minutes or so. On to some distressing news now, and on the 11th of April, Kim Potter, a former white female US police officer, shot dead 20-year-old African-American Daunte Wright after being pulled over and arrested for an outstanding warrant. She has then been charged with second-degree manslaughter and has said to have mistaken her gun for a taser, and since not apologized for the incident. The murder has sparked protests to form on Minnesota streets and the Brooklyn Center in Minneapolis for Kim Potter's charge. Minnesota law states that a person can be found guilty if they can be proven to have shown culpable negligence, therefore creating an unreasonable risk and consciously take chances of causing death or great bodily harm to someone else. From all of that, I have to just read the question. Do you think that the intent was to kill, or was this purely just an unfortunate accident? What do you think about this, Kyle?
I don't know. I can't say for certain if it was intent to kill, again. And I also can't say for certain if she did mistake the taser for the gun. I don't think she did. But I can say I do believe that the narrative and her not apologising is more of a lawyer thing and not her, she's not chosen to do that. I think this is a lawyer thing. I think you see it in movies all the time. The first thing they tell the person to do is don't act guilty or take any guilt, because then it makes your case much harder to deal with. So obviously the best way to do that, here's your alibi, don't apologise. And I think that's what she's doing so far. I can't blame her for that. That is what you do when you have a lawyer. The actual incident itself, I think it comes down to training. I think, she clearly didn't have a good handle of herself in the moment. So training is the issue here. I think we need to help with that, because that seemed to be the main issue, just the inability to have control of herself in the moment.
I mean, 26 years. You feel me? Like, she's in 26 years.
But how long are those 26 years with training? That's like that could be a year of training and then 26 years of being in the field.
But 26 years of experience on the force, then to have been in high pressure situations for 26 years before this person was alive, that adds to more what I'm trying to say. It's like, well, that's like saying, all right, 1 year's experience compared to a 30 years experience of, I don't know, a baseball player or whatever, etc., etc. You'll have more knowledge, and you would have been in more situations where you'll have to adapt, where you'll have to, compared to a person who has only had one. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. Might be first year just training. However, the thing is,
she's been in it for 26 years.
Yeah. More consistent training.
Yeah.
You can't be doing 1 or 2 years of training and then 26 years, and like you're not gonna stick to it. Like it's not enough. I feel like it needs to be regular. Like maybe like every year we do it.
Trying every possible
scenario.
Because things change. Not every situation, not all crime is gonna have the same kind of thing, because obviously there's crime online now, so you have to try and adapt to that and think on that. It's like trying to adapt it each time, because it always changes. Not everybody thinks the same.
And like, I understand making mistakes, but like when these mistakes are costing people's lives,
we need all the time.
It's more than a mistake at that point. Like, I know you were saying something about Taser being on the weaker, less comfortable hand, and then the gun being on the more comfortable hand. If you are trained for 26 years, it's literally left and right. How have you mistaken that it's left and right?
Exactly.
It's one of those things. It's like you can't just say that's a mistake.
Exactly.
It makes no sense.
I mean, would you say then that it was an accident then?
No, it's not. Well, in her house she may feel, but in my house no, because like Terell said, with the signs and stuff like that, a taser is a bright colour, right? A gun is not. A gun weighs more heavier than a taser. You got what I mean? So if she was to pick up something, she think, oh, it's little. Taser's only little, A gun is something big.
Yeah.
So she knows, she's held a gun in her life. Like you said, 26 years of experience. She's held a gun more than one time. I think she shot him because he was getting aggressive and she couldn't take it on her mouth, so that's what she did. I don't think it was an accident. Like Terell said, the accidents only happen to black people, more black people than, you got what I mean? It's just disgusting.
When you say taser, you bring it forward. You're not established that that's a gun.
Exactly.
And she held that gun for quite a long time before shooting.
That's what I'm saying.
It makes no sense. Like, I don't know, people are going to sit there and say, oh, well, you should have just complied with the police and stopped resisting. But like, in other incidents, they're not resisting and they still get killed. You know what I mean? It's like a trigger happy. Like, in my eyes, American police are too trigger happy.
Yes.
And they're too corrupt. They have too much power, and in these situations, they just don't know how to use it correctly. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's not making sense that a trained person for 26 years can make these mistakes. There's so many mistakes in just that one action of pulling that out. First, you picked the wrong side. Second, you've held it out for some time and you haven't even looked at what you're holding, and you just let it fire. It's like,
because now she's now she's lied, hasn't she? So she will apologise. In the coming weeks, more evidence will come out relating to that thing, like same like the George Floyd situation. More evidence will come out. There'll probably be like street cameras on They probably see the incident.
I believe that I believe it was on like near of a highway. I don't believe it was the street cameras around.
Okay, yeah.
Well, body cameras. It was on body cameras, but
yeah, but you know, like on top of motorways, you have those speed cameras, don't you?
Touché,
so
yeah.
if you get what I mean, if we have evidence like that and they see that incident and they will see that, she picked up the session, she put it back in, that'll make a sentence. You know, they'll extend more of a sentence.
Because I did bring up that she was holding like I assume it could be a citation in her right hand, and then she swapped it over, etc., etc. Do you think because of the chaos that was happening, that maybe she was thinking, okay, taser, but you know, she had to swap to that hand, and then you know, try and think, oh, maybe I need to go for that way, but I'm actually going this way, etc. You know, confuse it because of how, you know, high pressure it was. Do you think that maybe, yeah, she did?
You know what? Sorry, yeah. When the man started resisting, she should have tasered him then. Why did it take her so long to taser him or shoot him?
But even then, because they had him arrested, like handcuffed against the car, that's when he started to move, and then, you know, stuff like that.
What harm could he do? He's
Exactly.
handcuffed.
Exactly.
Why are you so? Yeah, it's just showing me you're trigger happy.
Yeah.
Why? Like I get resisting is a thing, and yes, people are gonna say, oh, but it's a high pressure situation. People are nervous. But 26 years experience, the guy's in handcuffs.
In fact, you should already like, you know, adapted to these high pressure situations. Because
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure you are trained through not be comfortable, but be calm, try and be collected during these try and handle it well in these high pressure situations. You know what I mean?
It's a job.
It's a job. It's a job, and you will have to take accountability for any kind of you know, fatal incident. Ultimately, because you're taking someone's life, whether it be accident or not. You know, I mean, typically you have a license to kill, and just because you have that license doesn't mean that, you know, you're bigger or better than anyone else.
Provoke it. Yeah,
Exactly.
stop it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it still continues, and it's still. I don't know. It's a case where you just can't seem to stop it. It happens all the time. I mean, this is just one incident. I mean, compared to the George Floyd situation, Breonna Taylor, etc., etc. There's so many more. That could be all races.
Oh yeah, all races.
All races. And if it continues, then, you know, what can we really do? I mean, we can try and help stop it. Well, not really stop it.
What you expect them to do? They've got gun held at one person. You can't just run in.
Exactly.
A friend and be like, oh, stop. They'll shoot you.
And
You're being aggressive as well.
and that's another thing, actually. High pressure, like in those kind of situations, you know, you have, you know, a lot of people like to judge others if they see like something really crazy going on, and police get involved, but you know, you think it's, you know, really, really bad, and you see the whole situation is not necessarily, you know, as the police make it out to be. And then they judge people who were near that and say, why didn't you help? Why didn't you save them? Well, one, you know, you're not a hero. And then in real life, you know, of course, I mean, if you want to, then that's fine, but ultimately you're getting involved, and ultimately, who knows, it can go south very quickly.
Yeah, it's not your place, it's not your job.
That's it. You know what I mean? Two, if they were in that situation, they probably would have done the same thing. It's easy to judge and say, oh, how come you didn't do that? But you would have probably done the same thing if you were in that situation.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's unfair, you know? Like, we can't really go and say, well, if I was that cop, I would have done this and that and that. But ultimately, it's happened, and we can't change that. Unfortunately, a young father has lost his life, and the mother of that child and that child have to grow up with that.
It's consistently always, and it's ironic that, obviously I'm not saying this only happens to black people, but a lot of these issues, a lot of the time, do happen to black people.
Yeah.
And it's ironic that they always make mistakes. Oh, I thought it was a gun. I thought he was a threat. And then the footage comes out and he's not really a threat. There's multiple officers there, and it's like, you know, how are you training these officers? There's multiple officers in certain situations, and they've still managed to kill the guy that's not a threat. You know, unarmed, hands up, and they're still killing. What exactly are you threatened by? And if you are threatened by something in that situation, should you really be an officer? You should really be protecting people if you're, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Even with this though, I mean, Kyle, do you think, right, that that they paint them out to be like this, like that the victim to be in this bad light, just so they can avoid responsibility?
I think it's the best way for their case, really. I think, you can't take guilt. You can't. If she immediately said, I shouldn't have used my gun, and I'm sorry, she's getting a lot of time in prison. So the best thing for her to do is to go, he was acting like this, I did this, I'm not apologising. And then she might get a leaner sentence even when evidence does come out. And oftentimes evidence doesn't sway the way you want it to sway. I'm not saying it will go like this. I think from what we've seen, she's in the wrong. But with the George Floyd case, when more and more footage came out, less people were on his side. I was still on his side. I think it was still awful what happened to him, and the training is the issue there. But I think either way, even when more footage comes out and it becomes greater, one consistent theme throughout is just bad training. I mean, the dude who killed George Floyd, that was trained. You were trained to do that. He wasn't doing that. He wasn't doing something that like his police officer friends were saying. That's not something we do, and it's they're trained to do that. So it's a training issue.
But you know what, Kels? I want to, because more evidence has come out about the George Floyd situation, and one of the evidence says a cardiologist said he didn't actually die of a drug overdose or a heart attack as many people thought it did, because he took fentanyl, didn't he, before he died. But he said he died of a cardiopulmonary arrest, and which obviously that causes oxygen not going in your body.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So,
no, I agree that he killed him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying when evidence comes out, it doesn't always go the way you want it to go. It caused a lot of people to question it more, and that's why I feel like our generation and millennials, I guess, when they make videos on TikTok and stuff fighting for it, I think they damage it more. I mean, let's say all the information came out for the George Floyd case over time and people didn't really make videos about it, but they were still protesting and everything. I think it would have been a lot better and less people would be against George Floyd.
Yes.
Because here's what happened. People made videos. He said he couldn't breathe as he got on his neck. And then people were like, that's awful. And then more footage came out and he was saying he couldn't breathe in the car. Yeah. Now, he was still killed by the officer, but then that made people go, hold on, all these people were yelling at me saying he was saying he couldn't breathe because of the neck and the knee, but he was saying so immediately they flip. So I think the two main issues that need solving are police training. I think in the army, a lot of people who go into the policing after talk about how the training isn't nearly as ruthless as it is in the army. I mean, in the army, you're pushed to your limit. You are literally men are on their knees crying in training in the army, so they are prepared for what they need to be prepared for. And a lot of them talk about training in the police is just not even close to that. So I think that's one thing. I also think jumping to conclusions, even if they're on the right side, jumping to conclusions before more evidence comes out causes people to immediately switch sides against the person, as people did with George Floyd.
Definitely. Relate back to the training. A police officer, I think, about who controls with that. It said that neck was not part of that training anyway. So
there you go. That's it.
But we didn't want to bang about George Floyd, but it came off.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is relatable, and at the end of the day, it's still wrong. But here we are, discussing about it again. I mean, the amount of other people that have been killed again, it's just wrong. But and again, we do seem to be talking about it quite a lot. But we've got to. I mean, if we stop talking about it, then it won't.
Just think it's okay. Like, there's a lack of discipline, I think, when it comes to the American police. I don't, like Kyle said, compared to the military, who are trained, pushed to limits, the police, I feel like a lot of them do have a lack of discipline. and that just plays a part in, you know, the bad stuff that some of them do. You know what I mean? It's an issue that really, as in America, I feel like they need to really sit down and rethink at how they've got this police force going. You know what I mean? They need to rethink about the people who are they're letting join. They need to upgrade their training systems. They need to do it more regularly, and yeah, it's just something needs. These things need to be done because people are losing their life from accident and mistakes, and it's not on when you're a professional. You know what I mean? You can't be professionally protecting someone, but then accidentally taking someone's life. Criminal or not, should go. I'm not saying the person shouldn't go to jail in these situations or the bad, but there was no need. There's no need. That's literally, there's no need for you to take his life. Not a threat. That's you being powerful.
And you know what? People think, oh, we're, you know, celebrating, like what they did with George Floyd. I don't want to talk about it, but I have to. This or that, oh, you're celebrating what he did in the past. You know, I know, yeah, I've seen his, you know, we've seen his records, what he's done in the past. We're not saying what, you know, what he done in the past is good, and we're not celebrating that. The only thing we're celebrating, like you said, is how he died. He should have, you know, what, you know, like you said, obviously, with the counterfeit bill, they should have arrested him, but, you know, yeah, obviously they didn't. But, and as well as that, when I looked at their video, that Jeep there was no legroom in the Jeep for him. They should have put him in the normal police car, actually, because I was looking on that film, on that, obviously that footage, and that, you know, the footage, not the footage, the legroom was just too tight, and the roof was just unsuitable for him, George Floyd, which is a big man. You should have put him in the normal police car, but that didn't happen. But yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, you can blame it on racism. You can blame it on lack of training. You can blame it on, you know, all these things. But at the end of the day, it's immeasurable to a life because it's gone now, and we can't change it. No. You know, I mean, and I mean, there is a thing where there's like police have like, you know, all this training, etc., etc. But then there's like the, you know, blue code. You know what I mean? Like saying that, oh, you know, you've got to look after each other officer, even if like they did wrong, look after them. You know what I mean? Like
you're supposed to call bad people out.
Exactly.
Like, that's just how life is. Like, don't do bad things, and like I understand there's your friends and your partners, but if people are doing bad things. Like I said in the other topic, people are doing bad things, call them out because it's affecting other people. You know what I'm saying? It's not something where you can be like, it's not this gang mentality that don't snitch, brother. If someone's doing something bad, call them out, tell them stop, and if they don't stop, then something needs to be done about it.
Yeah, exactly. Any final words though on this stuff? No.
Said what I need to say.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement. But yeah, if we keep on talking about it, it's because it's still an ongoing thing. We don't want to talk about it, but here we are. And we have to keep, and if it's getting addressed, then we're going to have to do it.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so I'm going to move on. Something a bit more cheerful. So that's it for that heartfelt discussion. But now, you know what? Flip the microphone. All right. So the next part should be fun. We are moving on to the next segment of the show, which is time to play Loose Mandem Does Guess a Celebrity. In this game, I will give Kyle, Kamaar, and Terell clues about the celebrity I am describing to them. They all can ask me one by one 3 questions each on who they think this mystery celebrity is. If one of them guesses it correctly, they will obviously get 1 point if they get one of them near to the answer or guesses, for example, show they were in, or, you know, like a quote, or etc. But they can't name the name, then they get half a point, if that makes sense. Yeah. So let's start. Let's do it. Okay, so this person has starred in the Fast and Furious films. Okay. Oh, Terell.
Vin Diesel.
Nope. Nope. Go for it.
Oh.
Nice.
All right, let me say. Wait, no. Let me say the next clue then. He is a singer-songwriter. No? All right. Okay. This clue might be a bit more universally, known, but he's quite known for for him crying all the time in memes.
Tyrell.
The thing is, we have the thing is though, it's funny. Give it right. The thing is, we actually know a Tyrese, and people always confuse his name with Tyrone. But yes, it is Tyrese. It's Tyrese Gibson. So I'm gonna give you half a point. I'm gonna give you half a point for that one. Right. So next person. Now everybody on this table should know who it is. You don't even have to, right?
Yeah, what?
You probably do.
About what?
So, yeah, no, I'm not okay. This person has been rapping since the 80s. Okay. Was a part of a group, including Eazy-E. And, yeah, that's it.
Very nice.
That's a very easy one, you know what I mean? Everybody should know.
Told you I didn't know.
Seriously, you don't know? Anywho, anyways, the next person. So this is a person who has suffered addiction to drugs. No. What?
Eminem.
No. Close friends with Princess Diana.
Bro.
Elton John.
No, I didn't come to you, so no. But Elton John, yeah.
You looked in my direction.
Yeah, but did I say did I point to you, or did I say your name? Right then, so that's gonna be 2.5 points to Terell. Right, so the next person, again, everybody knows. Kyle, please tell me you know this one. Bro, if you don't know this one, then bro. Right, so okay, first guess should be easy, right? So, this person has starred alongside The Rock and Kevin Hart recently as well. Okay, in recent films. This person was a substitute teacher who taught rock and roll, and has
Jack Black.
Correct. That's 1 point. 1 point. 1 point. All right, so that's 2.5. 1 point. I'm still waiting on you. Come on, man.
I should be,
No. So the next person is an economical activist. This person has been given a statue in their honor.
We were talking about this over there, son. No.
Okay, I'm gonna come to Kyle. No, I'm joking. No, come on. Pardon?
Greta Thunberg.
Say it one more time. One last time. One last time.
Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg is the wrong answer. It's Greta Thunberg. You know what? I'm gonna give you half a point. I'm gonna give you Greta Thunberg. Did you know that?
Look at this. How dare you?
Climate change.
No. Nah, blood. I thought we didn't.
So you've won that one. First time on the show, and he's won that.
Hey yo, I did better than normal.
You did. You know what?
For me.
Facts. Kamaar is there sitting kind of weird, but yeah, well, that is it for today's show, everyone. We have run out of time, but so hopefully we can see you on the next episode. Hope you've enjoyed it, and remember to tell the man them and gal them about Loose Mandem. See you in a bit.